Hi, and welcome to an Organized Chaos podcast. I'm Bobby Quarters. Chaos is here with me as well. We just wanted to thank you for watching.
Yes. Hey, Bobby.
And hey, and while you're here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You could follow me on YouTube as well as Chaos and the podcast channel, which all three of those channels will be streaming this very show you're about to watch. All these counselors start dropping dead, left and right. Heinous killings. Turns out, that kid who drowned the year before, his mother came back to that camp and exacted revenge.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan.
It's time
To face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread, then pull it.
It's Tyler Owens. Calls himself a tornado wrangler. If you feel it, Jason! All right, here we go.
You thought you could destroy a tornado.
We never had a chance.
You want one? You don't face your fears. You ride them.
I can do one thing right. With the time I got left, I can't do it without you. If you thought things had changed.
This country is corrupt beyond repair. We'll have to do some terrible things.
For the greater good.
You'll no longer be beloved celebrities. You will be wrathful gods.
That doesn't sound good, Ashley.
Oh, yeah, no shit, Ashley.
Sorry, Ashley.
I have found the answer to all our prayers. A virus that kills soups.
Let's go. Chop chop, motherfuckers.
This is a biblical war of good versus evil. I'm declaring hunting season on Starlighters.
I can't believe this is fucking happening to me again. I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Okay, so I just hired that guy to be our set director. His name is Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, Bill.
He seems like kind of a dick. I don't know.
Bill's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. But we're doing it live, apparently.
Yeah,
no,
we're doing it live.
It has no relation, guys. Listen, I downloaded that clip like forever ago for our intent to use somewhere in the podcast. I was like, fuck it, I'll just throw it in the pre-stream. Why not?
That's great.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful moment by a terrible man. But if goddamn. Okay, so we have stuff to go over. I guess I should have talked to you about this before. Do we want to discuss the
big news from last week?
the big fucking news? Like last weekend, there's big news in the presidential race.
Yeah,
Somebody shot at Trump. And then this week, holy fucking shit!
Like that wasn't even a week.
Yeah,
passed since that happened.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So yesterday, I get home from work around like 1:30ish, and I lay down for my nap. And then I wake up and I notice I got a text around 2:30ish. And somebody sent me essentially a picture of a Joe Biden letter and essentially said, "Holy shit." And so I'm reading through it, and yeah, Joe Biden has dropped out of the presidential race. And I'm like,
yeah.
Whoa. So listen, this is something that a lot of people have wanted. I pretty much wanted it for a bit, but
agreed.
I didn't really know what to expect because to my understanding, it's one of those things where Joe Biden has to agree to it. You can't force him out. You got it. He has to say, okay, I'm gonna step aside.
Yeah.
And honestly, like part of me kind of respects the fact that he did. Because there is an argument that like right now that means Kamala Harris is the front runner. And right now my vote's going to whoever has best chance of beating Trump. I have my issue with Kamala Harris, but she's a miles better than Donald fucking Trump.
Yeah. She is.
God, I think an argument can be made she's better than Joe Biden, but yeah.
Yeah, the DNC is like what, in August?
Yes. And I think there's a possibility this was
that doesn't necessarily make her like the party's nomination.
No, it's not guaranteed yet, but a lot of people are lining up behind her.
She's already raised like what, 100 million?
Yeah, she's raised a lot off this, and since I'm pretty sure as a Biden-Harris ticket, she can access the funds raised for Joe Biden's election.
I believe so as well.
She has a massive advantage. Part of me looks at this and I'm like, I'm kind of pissed they didn't give a proper primary, a Democratic primary, because honestly, Joe Biden should have announced he wasn't seeking re-election and then, to do this proper. But I don't think he was planning this. I really do feel like Joe Biden's kind of like the guy who he's the grandpa who's still driving, who should have the keys taken away. And to his credit, he recognized he should step away. So he did.
Well, if you remember in the 2020 primaries, if I recall correctly, Biden was not top placed in like leading like, points or favorship. He was almost dead last.
Bernie was top place for most of it,
as he was in 2016. But that's another can of worms we'll get into later.
That's a whole different can of worms.
Well, I didn't have a good way of showing you this, but I wanted to. My comment to you was this: I'd be like, "Hey, you want to play a game of charades, Bob?"
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
What am I?
Joe Biden?
Nope, Democratic Party, but that's
that too.
Yeah. That's and I worry that they're gonna just make the trifecta of it happen 3 fucking election cycles in a row. Now, just successfully shooting themselves in the foot. Now, if the 2020 point, he was dead last, and like the front runners were Bernie, Pete, Yang, and I want to say
Yang was pretty
Kamala.
high up there.
And then we had
Kamala started strong, but her election kind of fade off. Yeah, I want to say.
And then
Warren
we had Elizabeth Warren's
point,
awkward having a beer with you.
Do you know who was prominent at that point too? Who dropped out kind of suddenly, and his delegates were the one who gave Biden the support. And because of that, I think he's a strong front runner for VP. Would be Pete Buttigieg, someone who I'm also really not thrilled with. But he dropped at the last minute, and it gave Biden a lot of support.
I worry it's going to be Newsom. I worry Newsom's going to be the pick.
Well, here's what I will say. Why I don't think Newsom's going to be very appealing. He does have name recognition, but he's California. They have California. So
And they also
I
hold
don't
the
think they
most.
really
Well,
owe
they
him
also hold the
anything.
most seats in
Yeah.
the House too. California holds the
Mhm.
most seats, so that's. And I think if they could have that bit of political leeway, it would help them get more political leeway in the House. Because it obviously seems that the whole checks and balance system isn't really working.
No.
They,
we are
the
struggling at this point.
the Republican Party has found a way to circumvent that somehow.
Chuck, I would absolutely love that, and I don't think it would happen.
I
In a
don't think it
million
would.
years.
I don't
I
think the
would
folks are
love
ready.
it.
I would have no fucking problem with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In
AOC's on the
fact,
young side, but you know what? As far as being politically aligned with someone, I'm more aligned with AOC than I am with pretty much anybody else we've named besides Bernie.
Jasmine Crockett out of Texas.
I'm not familiar with that, but
she takes no shit. I love her.
nice.
He's the one who served up that illiterate 6-piece about Marjorie Taylor Greene. That butch body built bad built.
Really?
Yeah, that was her. That was her. Yeah. She called her that
Nice.
after Margie said something about her fake eyelashes.
Yeah, because women never do that. What?
Yeah, lovely. This is what we've come to. But she served it right back to her, and that's just. But not only that, just she. There was one time when Margie was attacking a witness at one of the Senate hearings, and she started off by first apologizing for that. You have no right to be treated that way, and then proceeded with her questioning, which is like, wow, like decorum, it exists.
True. And then Mikhail's talked about how and that is something to note. Like Harris didn't have that much of a presence during the Biden presidency, which I think that would be an advantage to her. That being said, I feel like that's almost kind of the role of the vice president too. They are frequently kind of the people, like they will be in charge of stuff, but they were frequently kind of the people who are there when the president's unavailable.
And mostly like having all the different what is it, like the heads of like the different departments. The secretaries reporting to the vice president.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that unless it's for something pretty important, in general, the president and the president do not make appearances together because for security reasons, they are not around each other a whole lot. Because that's kind of the point of the job.
It kind of makes me think, though it has nothing to do with it, it makes me think of that joke from Mars Attacks. Somehow the Secret Service or the FBI didn't think it was a good idea to have both branches or the executive and the legislative in the same building at the same time.
Yeah. Weird. But it seems like we're probably going to have Kamala Harris. Who knows who our VP will be? I would love someone like AOC or even Bernie, even though Bernie's really old. Listen, Bernie is old, but he's not Biden old, even though he is a couple years older than Biden. Like, Bernie is still with it from everything I've seen. Biden's struggling.
Even on
my understanding,
Inauguration Day, he was ready. He had shit to do. You saw that? He had he was ready to go to work. This was just on the list of his things to do that day.
Yeah. So while Bernie probably it won't be Bernie in a million years because DNC has gotten out of their way to fuck over Bernie, and it pisses me off to no end. But I would also love it.
2 elections in a row.
Yes.
2 elections in a row.
Yes. Well, just because I'm essentially supporting whoever the DNC puts up does not mean I love the DNC. It's just essentially we have this corrupt, terrible DNC versus Trump and Project 2025 and Supreme Court picks that seem dedicated to pushing us to a fascist state. It's a bit extreme. You gotta go with what's the lesser of two evils.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I was asking us if we have any opinion on Vance. Nothing favorable.
Vance. I think it's great, and I think this is.
I think that you need to understand
the
Appalachia. Then you would understand.
Yeah.
I don't know why he made that fucking joke. The guy has much of a sense of humor as a wet used tissue.
Well, keep in mind what he talks about in his book, fucking a surgical glove or something like that, and it's like,
Oh, wait. He felt the need to share that.
apparently it's a part of his book. I could probably bring up the quote real fast.
No,
here.
I'll take your word on it. I don't need to
Oh,
hear
you'll take
about
my
him
word?
fucking
Okay. Well,
I don't need to hear about
you're
him
missing,
fucking
you're
medical
missing
supplies.
gold.
I don't
we
think
need to
I'm
know how
missing
J.D.
anything.
Vance fucks stuff.
I'd rather not know that.
All
I
right,
mean, there's
fine,
enough
but
lore and hearsay behind what people in that end of the nation fuck, anyways.
and the right wing are pulling their house. That's what I've been hearing as well.
Yeah,
I
I
think
have
they
too.
were. I think they were prepared, like especially after that debate, seeing Joe Biden just kind of really old manning his way through that debate. I mean, if you watch that debate, Donald Trump is old manning his way through it too, but like their tactics are different because Donald Trump is old man lying, and he has his followers who will just gulp that up,
gobble that shit up like it was oxygen.
Now, if it was Kamala Harris in that debate against Donald Trump, I have absolute confidence she would have chewed him up and spit him out.
Though I really would have loved to see her debate Vance. I would have.
True. Well, I mean, now we're going to see her probably debate Trump, which should be. I mean, she should destroy him, which will be nice, and it will. Yeah. Yeah. There was so much stuff like. God damn! When that fucking in that debate when like Roe v. Wade came up, like Biden is like, it's like Biden, it's right there, destroy Trump, and he just wasn't doing it.
Yeah, he derailed himself like
so
twice.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, there was something wrong with my broadcast of it where it would loop back to like 4 questions ago, and at some point I'm like, you know what, I can't even watch this anymore. This is just incredibly.
I watched like 20 minutes of it, and I was just like, I can't. They're both old manning it, and Joe Biden is obviously not there. And yeah. Well, that is something that was kind of brought up in one of the Discord chats. Essentially, right now, what we have is Kamala Harris, who is a cop, and you can criticize her for that. She's a cop. She's running against a criminal.
She's a former prosecuting attorney as well.
Yeah, the
former judge.
The campaign ads write themselves.
I mean, yeah.
And let's face it, like Trump is. It's not like Trump is. Yeah, fucking Epstein files. They do love to talk about the Epstein files and ignore the fact that Trump is all over the goddamn thing.
Totally didn't kill himself.
Yeah, there's that aspect.
Totally didn't kill himself.
Listen, I'm not willing to say there's zero chance he killed himself, but I am willing to say I find it highly fucking dubious.
I'm saying, yeah, no, he did not. Like, no,
it is very, very sus.
If from stories that I have heard about the man and how he handled himself amongst his colleagues and peers, no fucking way that happened. Fucking way that happened.
Yeah, it is beyond sus, but yeah. So, so we're getting Trump versus probably Harris. And and I think the Trump campaign was all ready to campaign against how Joe Biden's old and senile, and he's not up for this. And now they're just fuck. And we won't probably have a certain idea of who's running until the Democratic convention in August.
Yeah, that's like August 15th through 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That being said, very safe money's on Kamala Harris. Very safe money. VP's much more up in the air. But yes.
Hey, Gene.
Anyways. Yeah, well, Acolyte. Do we want to dive right into Acolyte?
Yeah, let's dive right into that.
The Acolyte, the newest Star Wars series, is... I want to say it's good, but like I'm not thrilled with it.
Yeah, I'm not really.
I have issues.
Thrilled. it's
I don't think it's terrible by any
okay.
means. I
Yeah,
overall
it's
enjoyed it.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have one criticism, but that's just me being nitpicky.
I mean, I will say I flat out did not like episode 3. And it's not for a
No,
lot of
I
the
did
reasons that
not.
Chuds throw at it. But like
I
I
did
thought
not like it either.
that was episode like, you know, I mean, obviously there's that. It's just a few seconds, but that really cringe chant was so bad. Where I'm like, ugh, could you at least put it in an alien language so you don't recognize how bad it is? Which is an easy way to disguise that stuff, but also, yeah, it just the episode didn't flow great. And to be honest, episode 7, which is the same story shown from the Jedi point of view, I thought was significantly more entertaining.
Yeah, agreed.
And I will say there are the character of Saul I thought was very interesting, and I was disappointed in him not recognizing how he seriously fucked up, like absolutely fucked up, because that's I mean, let's see, that's not what I want to do this one. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and say a couple things. I think overall the acting in this is very good. I think Amanda Steinberg, who I have some criticism of, I think one of the issues here is that she has two characters. She is May and she is Osha, who are kind of the same person. But like obviously they've had different life experiences, so they were raised as twins, even though they aren't technically twins. But I mean they're forced twins, I guess.
Not twins.
Yeah. And I am just now realizing they must be the child actors are played by different actresses. I just assumed they were the same actress as well. But one thing I really recognized here is I thought, even though they were supposed to be the lead, they felt very kind of passive to the story until Osha kind of at the end. Just kind of there. And I think that was part of the goal of the story, but I'm not sure how successfully it was pulled off, because it really just felt like that. Like, I think episode 5 is a prime example. Like, we are seeing the all these Jedi fighting this one Sith and largely getting massacred. And I'm engaged with what's going on with Master Saul. I'm engaged with what's going on with the Padawan Jeki. I'm engaged with Yord, who's kind of with Osha. But like Osha and May are just kind of there, and they're not really doing a whole lot. And honestly, I don't feel like they largely don't contribute until Osha does significantly at the end, which I feel like was kind of the goal. But yeah, like again, I don't know how well it works, because it feels like for how prominent their characters are, it doesn't feel like they're impacting a whole lot until the very end. And one thing I also have to say, Manny Jacinto, the dude from The Good Place who plays the Sith in this, fucking hell, good fucking performance on his part. I was not expecting the dumb guy from The Good Place to be a villain, but he pulls it off quite nicely. I guess that's what acting does. But yeah, overall I like this. I think this was good. I'd probably say it's better than Obi-Wan, or definitely better than Book of Boba Fett. It doesn't blow my mind, but it's okay. And I do think it does do some deep dives into lore, which is nice. And I also appreciate being this time period in Star Wars that we've never seen before.
Well, we didn't really know exactly when in the timeline or story of anything it was happening.
Well,
we did get it answered. We sort of got it answered.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think they say definitively in the series, but I know in essentially production stuff, they're saying it takes place 100 years before the prequels. But yeah, we do get some noteworthy cameos, especially at the end. And what else? Oh, and you know one thing they explain extremely well? Why the Jedi don't really know about the Sith in 100 years. It's all the politics, which the prequels were heavily laden in. So it's one of those reasons why you shouldn't criticize a series for something before like it's all been laid out. It's one of those, like, if you have an issue with that, that's one of those things where it's like, okay, what you do is you add in a caveat and see if they explain it later. And they do. It's all a political thing because the Senate's after the Jedi, so they need to hide the fact that Sith are around from most of the Jedi, even to hide it from the Senate, which makes perfect sense, frankly.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I've been saying a lot, Bobby. What are your thoughts on this show?
See, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what they did, and like the chances that they took with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, with the time period and the fact that there's very few characters we actually know, it kind of gave them pretty open ability to do kind of whatever they wanted with it.
No,
do they exploit it as much as they could have? I'm not sure of, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't. Yeah, I think that they had a good chance of doing a lot more with it than what they did.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And now I do like the idea of like, how like essentially it opens with this mystery about Jedi being murdered and they have to figure out who the murderer is. And kind of how they do the first episode was something I kind of enjoyed because like essentially you see May kill Indara, Carrie-Anne Moss, and then it cuts to Osha, but like you're not really familiar with the names yet. So when it cut to Osha for me, I assumed it was the same person. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about it." I'm like, "Okay, obviously she's lying, or there's like a memory lapse." And I thought it was kind of clever how it's like a twin thing where even though the twin things are overdone, it's okay. And I like the actors overall, but yeah, like if you're looking for someone to be like, "Oh my god, the Acolyte was amazing," I'm not it. But if I don't think it's bad, I enjoyed it. It worked for the most part. I think there's a couple of good episodes. I mean, Bobby, we haven't talked since episode 5. What do you think of episode 5?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked that reveal. Let me get it up here.
I don't know. I remember like being a little bit bored by episode 4. Then the ending of episode 4 was like, okay, this is interesting. Then I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, they definitely upped it after that.
Yeah. And then probably after that, my second favorite was probably episode 7, simply because we finally got a little bit of Wookiee Jedi fighting.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. That was fucking awesome. Yeah. I kind of almost want to be like, that fucking Wookiee has a lightsaber, Bob.
Yeah.
That fucking Wookiee has a lightsaber. That's awesome. Yeah, that was a peak for me.
I'm kind of surprised how low that's rated. But I mean, this is all Chud Bond at this point, so the ratings don't really mean anything.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, this one was good. I want to know, how are we gonna get just an outline of Yoda and that's it? That's the only real complaint I have about the show.
Well, that's the thing. They set up season 2, and we're not even sure if we're getting a season 2. To my understanding, it did well on numbers, so I don't know. Like, it's really weird because, like, if it did well on numbers, I would think it would get a season 2. So I don't know what the hesitation would be unless it's not doing well on numbers. This is why it'd be nice to have streaming numbers have be a bit more open, because it's like I'm really confused by the information coming out. But yeah, we get a little teaser of Yoda. We get a little teaser of Darth Plagueis. and that's
Yeah,
about
I
it.
caught that too. I caught that
Yeah.
too. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Nice little teaser. Yeah, so like there's definitely potentials with season 2, but she had to fight hard to get Yoda and Plagueis. She said Lucasfilm very protective of those characters. I would get that, but they also make sense to pop up here because they're both around during this time period. It might be why Kai Mundi had the bigger role of the little cameos in this series, because they're probably not as protective of him.
I mean, probably not.
Yeah, but yeah, if you yeah, this series is good. That's kind of my final rating. Like, and I know in the internet age, everything has to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever, and this thing is just good. Nothing else to it.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Bobby, or you want to jump to Twisters?
Let's jump into Twisters.
Ooh, Twisters. How was your theater? Like mine was surprisingly busy.
There was a decent amount of people in my viewing of it. There were some people who just didn't understand the concept of shutting the fuck up when the movie was on.
Oh yeah, no, there was that thing too. Like there's lots of dumb jokes.
There was after one scene when they're bracing for the tornado in the pool.
Yeah.
So what happened? I'm just like, are you fucking what?
I was just gonna comment because like there's a lot of dumb jokes in here, which is fine.
Oh, there are a lot of dumb jokes in
the
this
audience
movie.
seemed to think they were fucking hilarious, and it's like, it's not that funny, guys. Let it go.
Yeah, there was. I had a few moments like that. There was a moment during mine where it was in the beginning, and it showed an ad with it had that Pringles ad with Chris Pratt, how he has the mustache. And just very loudly, this woman who was obviously like a mother with a family there, going, "Oh, I really like him."
Yeah,
very loud. Actually, I started laughing out loud at that. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
it's too funny.
So I think one thing to get out of the way, like this movie does take a turn, but like essentially the beginning of the movie is you have it's Daisy Edgar Jones, but like her character is Kate. That's right, Kate. And she has this experiment that will destroy a tornado.
It will deflate a tornado.
Yeah.
Using chemicals
she's gonna
and
kill
powders.
a tornado, man.
Now, I don't know how much of the science works up there. Now, like that's okay, cool idea.
Yeah. Well, and I also think like the beginning is where you get your big connection to the first one. Like I think it's funny. Like there's a credit to characters created by, and it's Michael Crichton. And it's like the only character that's returning is Dorothy, which is just the censor bug from the first movie.
And they're just in the beginning that it's older than dirt.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now, later in the film, how the tech team was studying them with like the 3D mapping. They see that was cool. That was cool. But no, we're going back to this crazy chemical idea that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it almost has to, because like it starts out with the chemical idea. And then it goes into the sensor, like, hey, Kate, we need to, like Javi, who was part of that. So real quick, beginning, they have this plan to kill a tornado. It quickly becomes an EF5, and pretty much everyone dies except Kate. Javi survives, but he wasn't part of the group that was like in the thick of it. Kate was the only one that was in the thick of it that survived. So anyways, so obviously she's hidden from tornadoes since then. She doesn't do tornado chasing anymore. And Javi says, hey, we have this way to map tornadoes. and we need your help to map these tornadoes. That way, we'll be able to predict when they're coming and help save people. And I'm like, holy fucking shit! It's the first movie.
Yeah, like, it's like, wait, they've done this before.
Yeah,
but if they already have that machine, then they should already be able to do that. What more do they need to study inside of it?
Yeah. It's like they already had Dorothy, and now we're going to do this, and this will be better. And it's like,
I guess the only other connection really is each team has the name, Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Man.
Yeah,
that's the only other connection, I think.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of connections.
It would have made more sense if it took place in Kansas.
Yeah. Well,
Not
one thing I will
Oklahoma.
actually say is that Kate was set up to be like the main character in this movie. And unlike the first one, it sticks to her being the main character throughout. It doesn't it's not like Joe has, Joe in the first one where she has this tragic backstory of tornadoes. And then suddenly we are following Bill Paxton for most of the movie. All love to Bill Paxton. I fucking love Bill Paxton. But that movie was clearly set up to have Joe be the main character. But then once Bill Paxton's there, we're following him 99% of the time. But of course, speaking of the second male lead, I will definitely say fucking Bill Paxton is much better than Glenn Powell, who acting wise I think is fine. But his character is the most cliche motherfucker in the goddamn universe. I swear to God. Like I've seen his character in so many other fucking movies at this point.
I have too, and I've seen him be a bigger cliche character in other movies too. This one, it was just kind of an insult to the cliche character niche.
Yeah,
I hated that character that much.
Yeah, no, that So first, it's worth noting, Kate, Javi obviously has a thing for Kate, but she's not interested. But then Tyler also has a thing for Kate, and she is kind of interested, but it kind of goes nowhere. And frankly, she has zero chemistry with either of them, so I didn't care.
She didn't have any chemistry with either of them.
It's whatever. But I guess we brought up how Tyler's just this giant fucking cliche. We should probably go into it. So he is a YouTuber storm chaser. Okay, fine. But then it's revealed, he actually went to school and he's well educated. He just is playing the role of the wild man for the show. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Are we serious?
He's more complex than you think.
Yeah. He's much more complex. He's actually the bad boy with the heart of gold. It's like,
that cliche was just, I audibly groaned in the theater when that. I was like, oh,
man. Yeah. Well, as that was coming up, it's like, God damn it. And yeah. They do a little bit of they are a little bit sneaky here, where essentially I'm watching it and it there's the two groups. There's Javi and Kate's group, who are the funded scientists with all the tech equipment, and then you have Tyler's YouTube group, which are the rough and tumble group. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So it's kind of a flip from the first one, because in the first one the rough and tumble group were the good guys, and the scientists were the bad, the high-tech scientists were kind of the bad guys. And it's like, oh, it's a flip, but then it flips back because
it's a bait and switch. Yeah.
And Javi is actually working for this rich guy who's buying property cheap from these people.
They never go any more into it. Once it's revealed,
they don't really explore into it. Yeah.
That is it.
It's
I hated that. I hated that.
And then it turns out Tyler, who's just a YouTuber, he's just doing it to raise funds and help the people out. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Now, I'll say this though, that there are times when I'm happy I went to the theater to see this. Yeah. Just for the special effects and visual effects.
Yeah.
Now there are times that I felt that the visual effects were a lot better in the '96 movie than this one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go with that.
There's one scene I think of from the '96 with the last tornado where they show the wide shots of the farmland, and it just on the farmland tearing shit up. It looked more believable than a lot of the shots in this.
Well, that's the thing that's interesting. So the overall excuse me. the overall tornado effects are much better in this one, obviously, but like they're almost less impressive. Because thing to keep in
Yeah.
mind, those effects in the 90s were just they were unseen at that time.
Well,
So
like,
it looked
okay,
cool, even though they've dated a bit.
like when they were
Yeah.
in the tornado, right? Like even that, it's like they just put like a thick cloud of like moving air around them. That's
Mhm.
I was hoping for something in this name to kind of be like cutting edge special effects as the first one
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing. So like
the Spielberg's house was on it. Amblin Entertainment was even on there, and I was a little disappointed that it
yeah,
didn't.
they don't push any boundaries with the effects on this one. It's just CGI, and I think overall it looks fine, but like yeah, it's less impressive than the first one, even though it's technically better than the first one. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention real fast. We got Scott here, who is part of the Dickhead team. Superman's in this, so that's kind of a cool little.
I thought
Like
he
I was
looked
watching this, going,
familiar.
"Oh hey, that's
I
the new
thought he
Superman."
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah, he popped up. I was like, "Oh, that's familiar. Oh, it's David Cornsweet. Okay, Superman." And seeing him in this movie, I'm like, okay, I can see how you'd be cast as Superman. He's just the tall, dark-haired dude. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the first one, and I'm not a huge fan of this one. I think in some ways this one does better than the first one. In some ways, this one's worse. Like, obviously, like the Tyler character did nothing for me. Like, my complaints of Bill Paxton character in the first one was that he took over the movie, not that I disliked the character. I thought the character was fine. Maybe the Tyler character would be more likable if it was played by Bill Paxton. R.I.P.
Yeah.
And I don't even think Glenn Powell's particularly bad. It's just fucking so poorly.
Like I
written
was
character.
expecting like maybe even a small little like end credit scene of something
Yeah.
tying it all together, but no, nothing. Nothing.
Dude, like, do you realize how awesome it could have been? So we have Moira returning as Kathy. Imagine if Kate goes home and her mom's Joe.
Like, I was expecting that.
And that would just be like, oh, no wonder she's so addicted to this stuff. And the mom's like, man, I wish you wouldn't. I understand, but I wish you wouldn't do this. And it's like, oh, that would make so much sense. That'd be
because we didn't hear the mom's voice earlier when like mom called her. So I thought that was like super intentional. And barbecues on at the house. All the pieces were there for it.
It does feel like in the beginning they're like almost obscuring her face, and it's like, oh, who's the mom gonna be? And then it's Moira returning. It's like, well,
I mean,
okay,
cool.
But she has no connection to the
franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. She's awesome.
Nothing
and everything.
against Moira returning, but yeah.
But shit, come on, guys.
Yeah, like that was just such an obvious thing you could have put in there and change, like literally change nothing about the script. Just have her mom be Joe and give her the exact same lines of Kathy in this, and
maybe have one picture of her and Bill.
Yeah,
and her talking about her how like
that's how we met. We never
she
wanted
doesn't
that
even have
for
a
you.
dad
there, so it's right there. I almost wonder if maybe it was written that way, and for some reason they couldn't arrange it or something.
Helen probably said no, not without Bill, because I know Bill wanted to like make this sequel for years.
Well, I know Helen almost had a sequel off the ground in 2020 after Bill passed, so I don't know if that's it, but it might be that she was just burnt out on it at this point. It was just like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I guess at the end of the day, the question is, would I recommend this? Because like I said, I don't think this is terrible. I think I enjoyed it.
It's
not great by any means.
It's okay for the theater experience. I wouldn't say it's worth it for the theater experience.
Yeah, like it's an okay theater experience, but at the same time, I don't know if it's worth theater price.
Oh no, God, no. Maybe early matinee. Mm-hmm. I remember reading or seeing a review about this where it was saying like it's a non-woke movie that is breaking box office records.
Everything that does well, they try to claim as non-woke. I mean, do we ignore the fact that it has a female lead now? Because everything with a female lead was woke before, so I'm confused.
And like there's a lot of girl bosses in the Roughnecks team.
Yes. Yeah.
But hey, you know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a big part of the storyline is about how Javi and Tyler keep on getting showed off by Kate, and because Kate is way better at detecting these tornadoes and figuring out where they're at.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Did we watch the same movie?"
Yeah.
Like, what?
I don't think you. Well, yeah,
There weren't any tropes of the quote unquote wokeness, but
I mean, they did the same thing with Inside Out 2, and that did really well. They're like, "Oh, Inside Out 2 is an anti-woke movie." It's like the movie starring a woman character and her diverse collection of friends. What?
that are literally about a teenage girl's emotions.
Yeah. How anti-woke? What? No, it's all fucking grift. It's obnoxious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're asking me, would I recommend this? I guess I lean towards no. Maybe if you're just a massive fan of the first one and you just want a tornado movie, because like I said, there's not much in the way of connections between this and the first one. There's Dorothy. There's some story ideas that are definitely borrowed from the first one.
Yeah, that's about it. And
Yeah.
then name.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, they do kind of borrow a lot of the plot points from the first one, like a theater, like a movie theater or a movie playing while a tornado is hitting. Now, it being Frankenstein, that was actually kind of fucking cool. I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
But I agreed, it would have been better, like it was better with The Shining than the original.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I knew going into it that it was.
Oh yeah, definitely. I didn't look at it as anything.
Yeah,
like a soft reboot.
They did not. Yeah, they did not advertise it as they kind of like with the title. I'd say they are advertising it as a sequel, but like everything I read about was essentially it's a sequel in name only.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, like even
but I've also heard the cast members
little things. Yeah,
I've heard the
they
cast
could have
members
had
say
Joe be her mom.
It's kind of more like a spiritual sequel or a continuation of the story within that same world.
Yeah, it's the same universe for sure.
Yeah. Not that everything needs its own cinematic universe, but yes, for the sake
Twister cinematic universe. I can't wait.
I mean, when they later get to the later sequels like Waterworld, it gets real confusing after that.
Oh yeah. Oh well, real quick, I have to bring up something. So, because this kind of drove me nuts because it was a cool idea I thought at first, but it got overused, and the last usage just kind of pissed me off. So, Glenn Powell's Tyler, he's got this truck.
Oh, are you talking about the drills?
EF1. Yeah, the drills. And when I first saw that, I thought that was kind of cool. He has these drills where like the tornado's coming at him, he can get right in front of the tornado, drill down, and just film. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool. And he's like, this thing's ready for an EF1. EF1 hits me, I'm good. As long as I'm all set up. Like, okay, cool deal. And then it's used a bit later, and it's like, okay, yep, they set that up, and it's used. Okay. And then the third usage at the airport when the drills just go straight through fucking pavement. Get fucked on that one. No.
Yeah.
They tear through it like it's fucking nothing.
Oh,
no,
great.
They don't.
Great. Now you're doing destruction of an airport property. I believe that's a felony, sir. I believe that puts you on a no-fly list for life.
I'm sorry. This is the bad boy with the heart of gold. He's being kind of an asshole here. I'm sorry.
He's committed a felony, if I'm not mistaken. Which also featured Paul. Oh God, what is his name? The guy who played the parking or the parking agent there. He's a comedian.
Oh yeah, he was somebody
I
recognized.
Paul Schrader, I think, or something.
Yeah, Paul Schrader. Yeah, airport traffic. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Him, yeah. He does this great podcast, like How Does This Get Made? And he subjects his friends to bad movies.
Well, that's awesome.
Like The Room, and then they pretty much describe it as comedians would.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I said, like if you're really excited for a tornado movie and a huge fan of the first one, then yeah, go check this out. Other than that, I don't know if I'd really recommend it. Anything you want to add, Bobby? Otherwise, I was going to go to these questions.
No. I was looking at the question. Not that I've
Okay.
heard anything about a Barbie television series.
Yeah, I have. I know they definitely are planning a sequel because obviously it made a fuck ton of money. They
Yeah.
want to do a sequel. I
And
don't think
nothing is
like as much as
stronger and nothing's
I
stronger than
enjoyed
the
that
power of money
movie.
boners.
Yeah, I enjoyed that Barbie movie quite a bit, but like sequel just sounds like a terrible idea. I'm not saying like maybe if they do what they did in the first one, essentially give a creative director and writer the ability to kind of do whatever they want with the Barbie property. Maybe that, and not even necessarily connect to the first one and just have it just be a filmmaker just having fun with the Barbie property, kind of like the first one was. I think that could work. But if they're gonna do like some sort of in canon franchise sequel, which I'm sure they want to do, that just seems set up for failure, in my opinion.
The world of
Um,
Mattel. It'll be like G.I. Joe comes in and invades. But they're all just like dumb blockheads. Like
yeah,
just dumber than hell.
we'll cross over Barbie with GI Joe and Transformers. It'll be great.
Oh God! So, well, speaking of Transformers, there was a trailer for a new Transformers movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, I think that's even a
that
Netflix movie,
that looked
or is it a
bad.
theatrical? I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. It looked bad. To me, it did.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I
I
guess I'm
think
not a big enough fan of Transformers lore to really get into it, but
neither
yeah,
am
maybe if I
I. But
was.
I also think that that franchise has jumped the shark already.
hmm Well, I mean, I actually feel like the past couple of entries have been a lot better, but like it is tainted by Michael Bay in his first
I
four
enjoyed.
movies or five,
Yeah,
five movies. Jesus Christ.
yeah. Like I said, I think it jumped the shark already,
Yeah.
and they went out the gate. Maybe he's casting Shia LaBeouf.
While also doing the second one during the writer's strike and being like, hey, let's make the sidekick Transformers really fucking racist caricatures, because that was a great idea.
Yeah, I remember when I finally got around to watching that, and that part
Ooh.
there, I was like, I think I'm done with mainstream Hollywood for a while. This is
Yeah. Well,
woof.
I think my least favorite
Woof.
might still be the fifth one, where it's just very simple why I dislike it. Because I was watching that movie, and there was a point where I'm just paying attention because that movie cannot sit on a shot for 2 sentences. The camera is always moving, and it's always cutting to something new, cutting to something new.
Yeah.
And
Bad.
it was giving me a fucking headache. It was frustrating how bad that movie was. And it's like Michael Bay is a director who I feel is capable, but like if he just decides to do whatever the fuck he wants to do, it just doesn't fucking work. It's like he
No,
needs restrained.
I agree with you. I agree. Him and Bruckheimer, man. Like Bruckheimer has the ability to make a good movie in him.
Yeah.
So does Michael Bay.
Yeah.
They have, and they've had a great history of working together and making great stuff. But there was a trailer for the new Aliens movie too. That looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, real quick before we move off of Michael Bay, I wanted to bring up. Have you seen Pain and Gain?
Remind me, who's in it?
It's the Michael Bay movie about it's The Rock is definitely one of them. Mark Wahlberg, and there's a third guy I'm brain farting on, but they're like steroid laden bodybuilders who are just on drugs and essentially becoming con men.
I don't think
But
so.
like they're okay. So that movie, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember loving it because it's a Michael Bay movie. And he is allowed to like do all his crazy, insane camera stuff and all his wild storytelling in that movie because it really puts you in the perspective of these guys because they are just these really dumb con men who are pumped up on steroids and high as fuck. And it like all the insane camera shit Michael Bay does in that movie just fucking works because it just puts you in the mindset of these guys who are just insane. And that's the one example of Michael Bay just kind of doing whatever the fuck he wants and it actually working in the context of the
The
story.
Rock is another good example of him making a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, dude, have you seen Patrick H. Willems' recent video on The Rock and Ryan Reynolds?
No.
Essentially, he did a really good piece talking about how Ryan Reynolds and Rock are like good examples of actors who've decided to turn themselves into brands. And they're less interested, and the idea is they turn themselves into a brand and they have a side business and that's where they make their money. And there's actually lots of actors who have done this. Not really turn themselves into a brand, but run a side business so they can make money. The most famous examples would probably be George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the reason they did this was the reason why Arnold Schwarzenegger and George Clooney did it was so they won't have to take paycheck movies. So they can just choose to work with whoever they want to work with. You know, the pay doesn't matter because they have a side business that's keeping them sustained. And it also gave them the opportunity to work with directors who may not have a shot, who they think are really good. The Rock and Ryan Reynolds have the same opportunity, but they don't fucking do it. They just turn themselves into brand and pump their products out into the world.
I haven't watched it. I'll have to check that out because I usually like his.
It's really interesting, and it's like
his takes.
And Patrick H. Willems even admit, hey, listen, I'm giving them advice because I just want them to make good movies because they have the opportunity to make good movies.
Yeah,
he's got with their influence, and
that's kind of something I've always enjoyed about his content. He just gives a straightforward critical analysis.
Yeah, it's a really good video. I highly recommend it. I'll also do it to the audience as well. Just Patrick Willems in general is awesome.
He's great. Hilarious too. Another good example of a great Michael Bay movie is The Island. That's another good example.
I haven't seen that. Didn't he also do The Rock?
Yeah, he did.
The Rock was fun.
Yeah, The Rock was just a good. He also did the Bad Boys movie.
I was never as thrilled by that. Did he? Has he done all four, or is there someone else doing the other ones?
I forgot there was a third one. The one
There's
in
a fourth
2020
one that just came out.
And the one in 2020, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did. He did really. No, he did not direct that one.
Oh, okay.
It's Ali E. Abra in Fala. No, he did direct the second one.
Yeah, I know he did the first two, and then there was a huge gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah, and then there was the one in 2020 that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Boys for Life, which I completely forgot about.
Well, I haven't seen any of them since the second one, so I guess also Alien. Do I think it'll be a success? I haven't really thought about whether or not I think it'll be a success.
Now, do we know when this is taking place? Like, is it taking place around the time of
No idea. I mean, the part of me is like, if they want to set it like firmly in the timeline, we could maybe see the story about how the colony got taken over. But part of me also wants them to kind of just tell a story kind of off on its own, so they aren't restricted by any timeline shit. I don't know if it'll be a success. I think I'm interested in it though. I hope it's
I'm
good.
thinking that maybe this is the distress call that they go to answer in Alien.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I saw something in the trailer where I saw them booting up a computer and the screen came on and it said Mother on it. So that makes me think, maybe is this taking place, right after Covenant, or
could be. Yeah, I don't know.
A few years or a few hundred years or whatever after Covenant. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious.
Yeah. We will see. I hope it's good. That pretty much. I don't know if it'll be a success, but I hope it's good.
I hope it's good too, because I seeing that one like on the big screen, and I'm thinking, man, I'm totally gonna just love watching this on the big screen.
Yeah, it looks. The trailers look cool. So
and also makes me think, man, I need to find a time where they're gonna replay the first one on the big screen, because I want to go see that one again. I want to see that on the big screen.
But let's see. Are we ready to get into The Boys?
Yes, let's talk about it.
All right. So The Boys, I'll go ahead and bring it up. But The Boys season 4 is
Holy shit.
Yeah. I guess you have stuff to add.
Holy shit. God damn. Like I was happy that we waited for this.
No, it's well, I mean it just ended, so it works out. But yeah, I like you obviously have the narrative that somehow this season is worse than the other seasons, but I'm like, this seems just as good to me. So I don't know what people are talking about. And then we will get into it. So like when we wrap up, we'll go ahead and look at some critical drinkers takes on The Boys. So yeah, you guys get a little bonus for watching when we get to the end. But yeah, this is really good. There's definitely some twists here I wasn't expecting. So I will go ahead and say, going into this season, I assumed this was Carl Urban's last season. I assumed like that, you know, he's dying. He's gonna figure out how to wrap it up. And honestly, through most of the season, it's playing like that. Billy is kind of learning, like he wants to reconnect with Ryan. He obviously wants to save him from Homelander. And kind of like Billy's like going through a lot, and he is I feel like he's maturing a lot throughout this season. And you know, it's not super helped that he keeps on getting visited by this dude named Kessler, who is definitely like wanting him to push on the superheroes and go anti-superhero a bit harsher. But Billy is actually like getting more of a nuanced take, kind of like, you know, hey, you know, yeah, there are bad soups that we seriously need to take care of, but there are good soups like Starlight, like Kamiko, like Ryan. I don't want to harm them. And then I guess if we're going spoiler, yeah, and then his cancer gets superpowers. So I don't know. I think it was probably a side effect of the V. So he's dying. So he tries some V, and essentially it seems like the cancer that's in him gets super souped up. And I will say, so like I thought I was getting like big spoilers because like I saw people talking about, because it took me a couple days to see the finales after it aired. And people were like, "Oh my God, The Boys just killed off the second most popular character." That was the article. I saw that a couple times. I was like, "All right." So I'm guessing they're saying Billy's the second most popular character, which I kind of saw coming. And you know, Homelander would be the most popular character, I guess. No, not at all. And I don't know why they were saying it's the second most popular character that died. Because I don't think so. We haven't really gotten too much into story points. Because we got a couple new characters this season. I brought up Kessler, who visits Butcher exclusively. And you know, we can add, when we get seriously into spoiler talk, we can get into that.
Yeah.
We have Sage, Sister Sage, who I think is the most interesting and also most terrifying of the new characters. Holy shit.
We got Firecracker straight out of Daytona Beach, Florida.
Yeah. Who definitely doesn't reflect any real life characters at all.
No, she doesn't.
It's not a mirror of society at all with her.
It is not a mirror of Marjorie Taylor Greene at all.
It's a mirror of online chuds, pretty clearly. And honestly, Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of them at this point, and frankly, so is Donald Trump to a degree.
Ryan Kessler, the like showrunner, has come out and said, "Oh no, yeah, she straight inspired that character."
Oh, has he? Okay,
yeah.
And, you know, that does seem familiar. And yeah,
Sister Sage is
real quick. Eric Kripke.
Yeah, Eric Kripke. That's right. Yeah. Sage is pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
We did watch Noir die last season, but he's back.
Yeah. and it still's not fully explained because he's just a dude walking around talking, and it's like,
Holy shit! Did he
huh?
just fucking talk?
Yeah. It's like, dude, what am I supposed to say? You're not supposed to talk. Yeah, but I don't know what's going on. It's like, we don't know what's going on, Black Noir. Nobody knows.
Yeah, the Deep is still here, and he is
Yes.
kind of showing more of just how much of a piece of shit he is.
Yeah, so like both the Deep and A Train get pretty decent character evolutions in this season, both going drastically different directions. A Train's kind of learning like how good it can be to actually be a hero. And I was actually kind of surprised. So, fun fact: A Train is actually not in the last episode, except for the brief trailer clip of him in that Will Ferrell movie, which looks awful.
It does look bad.
It's about how A Train is learning to be the fastest runner there is, and Will Ferrell is the coach that believed in him and pushed him to greatness. And it's like, and everybody like in the universe is like, you're making a white savior movie.
You sure it's not too blindsidey? I feel like it's too blindsidey.
Yeah, maybe a bit. Maybe. Yeah, no, and you get some of the great dark humor. You get the killer chickens, which there's a clip of at the beginning of this stream.
Yeah, that was fucking
the
great.
whole farm animal thing was fucking insane.
Oh, Nate,
yeah,
you weren't okay with A Train's redemption?
Oh,
I thought him running in and like hip checking the Deep was fucking great. I loved that.
Yeah,
I loved that. I was like, oh,
so, I mean,
shit.
An argument can be made. He is so down he's done too much dirt that he can't get a full redemption. And I will tell you, the way storyline wise, you get the characters like that get their full redemption, and I imagine it'll get that way with the Deep, or not the Deep. Deep's not getting redemption. The way it will get that way with A Train with the last season coming up, because Eric Kripke did announce that season 4 is the next last season. Season 5 is the end.
Yeah.
The way you do that is the character dies for their redemption, and I do feel like there's a decent chance A Train's heading for that route.
I thought he was going to die in the last episode.
It wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, he wasn't even really in the last episode. But yeah, so Homelander does actually send the Deep and Black Noir to the boys' offices just to fucking execute them. And A Train's a key player in saving them, which, damn.
It kind of does. It is kind of almost like a hopeless moment. And then just A Train's there.
Mm-hmm. And A Train talks about how he saved that one dude and just got him to the hospital. And this kid just looked at him and smiled. And he was like, that was like the greatest moment in my life for me, realizing, just this kid thinks I'm a hero. And, and it's like, I can see how that moment would really influence him, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
God damn it, the Deep is just the worst.
Yeah, he is the worst. I didn't feel bad for him, even when he was in Sandusky and getting his gills fingered.
Yeah, like when you rewatch this series, which I probably will at least a couple times, every time the Deep goes through pain, know that he deserves it. He is the worst.
I love that Ashley said he's still on his on PETA's bestiality list,
and he should be. I mean,
he should be.
Fucking that octopus, Jesus Christ!
They also broke up in this episode in a fucking terrible scene.
Yeah.
After they won that award for using a fake octopus for it, they go and kill a different one.
I did think it was hilarious. So Sister Sage obviously thinks the Deep looks hot, but she can't stand him. So, and apparently her ability is that her brain is constantly growing.
Mm-hmm.
So what she does is lobotomize herself and then fuck the Deep while her brain is just mush.
Yep.
Good fun.
And apparently she was fooling around with the Black Noir too, but without the
That
lobotomy.
wasn't as clear to me because that seemed like it's possible, but didn't seem like it seemed like they didn't really know. It seemed like I was definitely one side on Black Noir as part of that line.
Yeah.
So maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I wasn't as clear on that one, but let's put it this way: it's all fucked up on the boys. Yeah. Overall, I think this is a very good season, and if you want to go full spoiler, completely full spoiler, the character that dies at the end is Victoria Newman, not remotely the second most popular character in the show. But it is kind of wild because like Newman essentially gets to the point where she's going to the boys and saying, I need your help. I need you guys to get me out of here. And then that's when Billy comes in looking healthier than he has in a long time. So healthy that I just assumed it was a shapeshifter because this season does establish there are shapeshifters floating around. I just assumed it was a shapeshifter coming in.
Nope.
But no, it's Billy, and his super cancer is kicked in. And essentially what we found out is that Kessler, who he's been talking to throughout the series, is just a voice in his head. And it really seems like it's kind of the embodiment of the cancer inside him. And it's really pushing him towards pretty dark shit, frankly. And it seems like at the end, the Kessler aspect of him has kind of taken over who he is. So even though Billy's learned a lot and kind of matured a lot, especially this season, the worst aspects of him have taken over again.
Oh yeah. And now he has like Venom-like powers.
Yeah. Except it's cancer instead of a symbiote.
It's the boys.
True. So yeah, I mean, I love this series and I still love this series. I know there has been a chud reaction to it, but it's dumb. And part of it is also the Eric Kripke stuff where he came out and said, hey, people are calling my series woke. If you're offended by it, don't watch. Which, I mean, I think that's advice for all these guys. Like, if you're so offended by this stuff, don't watch. But also understand, if you're not watching and you're giving your opinion on it, know that your opinion is worth less than dirt. I mean, you have to actually watch it to give a clear opinion on it. At both best, what you can do is parrot other people's opinions, and maybe you find opinions of people you respect, but like even then you're just parroting people's opinions you respect, so it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have my complaints about the Chud community. Might be, I don't know if you're aware of that, Bobby.
I'm aware, and I get your problems with them. I agree because they're kind of pathetic.
Yes, terribly pathetic. Anything you want to add?
No.
Okay.
I'm excited for next season. I'm also excited that how they ended this because we got the two antagonists from Gen V here.
Yeah.
Kind of because they ended this on such a cliffhanger of like almost everyone's in dire straits except for Butcher and Starlight. So
yeah,
they're gonna have to save the rest of the boys because
and who
Mother's
like
Milk,
honestly, Butcher
Mother's Milk
in his
got,
current state is not going to be super helpful unless something
Mother's
changes.
Mother's Milk got attacked by giant schlong man.
Yeah.
Huey got abducted by Vought people.
They were in dire straits going, like, as it was wrapping up, they were in dire straits and they were just fleeing the country. Like, you know, Homelander had effectively taken over the government at the end of this. He is the leader, and, you know, he's after them. So they're essentially fleeing the country. And as they're fleeing the country, that's when they're all getting cracked down. So, like, they were in the shit before, and then the season just ends with them even more in the shit. So yeah, I'm excited to see. It's obviously going towards a conclusion. I'm excited to see what the conclusion is. Yeah, this is a good show. Don't let the chuds like discourage you or any of that stuff. This is just a solid fucking show. And I will also add, like, I get why Eric Kripke's ending it, because there was an element watching this early on where it was almost kind of ahead of the political game, where it's kind of predicting stuff and drawing absurdity from the possible futures. And a lot of that shit has already happened, and now the series feels like it's a bit behind, and it's almost parody of the world. Because now it's almost just drawing direct connections to Trump. Not saying that's bad, because it makes sense. It's a logical direction for the series, but um, oh, um, oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. You're not gonna say anything useful. Anyways, yeah, it's just it's a good show. Worth checking out. Do you wanna look at your take now?
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
All right, so this is a video by Critical Drinker. It came out, I think, after episode 4 of The Boys. I've seen it through other people, but I haven't watched it on my own yet or done like a formal reaction to it. I don't know if you've seen it at all, Bobby. But like this thing's been clowned on a lot. So I figure we could give our 2 cents.
One of the questions that comes up pretty regularly on Open Bar these days is, Drinker, you tough-talking, charismatic gunslinger with a dark past, when are you going to review The Boys Season 4? Ah, The Boys.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
You know, I used to be a real fan of that show, to the point where I actually gave the first season a Drinker Recommends Awards. And truly, what higher accolade can one bestow upon a work of art these days? Anyway, at a time when the superhero genre was already becoming kind of stale and played out.
I mean, just real quick, like everybody liked season 1. And I will point out, a lot of the community that Drinker courts watched season 1 and thought Homelander was the hero, which I cannot begin to understand that take. That is insane.
The Boys came along to completely tear up the rulebook. Funny, violent, irreverent, and wickedly subversive, with a complex and well-written cast of heroes and villains, plus a whole lot of other characters in between, and a story that brutally skewered everything from fake corporate activism to our obsession with celebrity culture, media manipulation, and cultural warfare. It was really everything you could look for.
Now, he mentioned a lot of stuff, and it definitely does do that.
So he is aware of media manipulation.
Yes. Well, I think the biggest thing he doesn't bring up, which I thought was the biggest element that really critiqued in especially season 1, was fucking capitalism. I think it's interesting he leaves that one out, because that's, I mean, and you can argue The Boys is a critique of capitalism, pretty hardcore critique of capitalism, but it's being also made by Jeff Bezos and Amazon, like the biggest capitalists in the world. And it kind of also shows you, even though essentially businesses that are obviously capitalist will produce anti-capitalist art in the goal of making more money, because capital is the most important thing in the end for capitalism. And that the world's a weird place. But yes, I just find it interesting he didn't bring up capitalism that obviously critiques. I mean, like all the time in this series. Drinker recommends uncontroversial media that everyone likes across all demographics and political alignments.
In a show like this. I kind of checked out after season 3, partly because I was pretty burned out with superhero stories in general, even shows that subverted the genre, and partly...
I mean, yeah, it's subverted. I do think it's kind of weird to say you're burnt out on superhero stuff. I would argue if you're burnt out on superhero stuff, The Boys is kind of exactly the show for you. Like if you were ever a fan of superhero stuff, but you're burnt out on it, like it's The Boys, right?
because I could see the way The Boys was heading as a creative property. The complex, nuanced and multifaceted characters were slowly morphing into simplified parodies of themselves. The central storyline was becoming trite and predictable, and the bitingly witty satire was becoming more overt and partisan with every season, parroting the same predictable talking points as every other Hollywood product. Basically...
Okay, he just said a whole fucking lot there.
Yeah,
he didn't
that
cite
was
any examples either.
that was very word salady.
Well, I mean, essentially, the characters used to be complex, but they're not complex anymore. Can you explain that? Like,
No, I gathered that, but
Yeah.
he was word salady about it, is what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely said that, and you haven't. Can you give an example of a character that's done this? And then he's arguing that's partisan. Can you also, like, Critical Drinker, can you bring up an example where the Boys has changed any sort of political take or something? I'm confused. It's been kind of consistent what it's doing. I know he won't have any examples, but it drives me nuts how these guys just say shit and then it's just like, source, nah, just trust me, bro.
The Boys just wasn't cool or interesting anymore. It wasn't fighting the power, it was the power. It wasn't raging against the machine, it was part of it. What was once rebellious, subversive, and
It was always part of Amazon.
Yeah, like what?
What like, you can make the argument it has an anti-capitalist message because it absolutely does. But it is a show made by capitalists, dude. Where have you been?
Like almost any form of media, it's made by capitalists. Like,
yeah.
The fuck is his point? The fuck is he on about?
Reverend had become just another mouthpiece for the safe, corporatized, hollow, and performative activism that it once so brutally mocked.
Christ.
So I wasn't exactly brimming with excitement at the prospect of sacrificing another 8 hours of my increasingly limited lifespan for the new season. Frankly, I've got better things to do with my time.
Psoriasis.
So is he saying he's... So I guess I kind of have seen this. So he's essentially saying he didn't watch it. And I just want to say, like, is that his fucking job? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your job is to watch stuff and give your opinion. Now, if you decide to watch it and say it sucks, you go for it. But like this like, oh, I don't want to watch it. Then why the fuck you making a video on it, bro? Oh, I know why. Clicks. And it like, I guess to your credit, you'll get the views. And boy, oh boy, it's a lot easier to get those views and not actually have to put the effort into watching something and giving it a fair review. This guy's so fucking lazy, I swear to God.
Yeah. It's kind of pathetic.
But hey, maybe they managed to turn things around. I mean, Stranger Things was drinking at the Last Chance Saloon for me after a disastrously bad season 3, only for the showrunners to listen to fan complaints and come back with an absolute banger of season 4. Maybe
I don't remember hearing anything about listening to fan complaints. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they were a little burnt out after season 3, and then season 4 they kind of got a little revitalized after COVID, because it definitely felt like they got inspired for season 4. But I don't recall anything about fucking fan complaints or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Another example of just like saying shit.
maybe we'd actually get something similar here. So it was off to Rotten Tomatoes for me to check out the reviews. Fake reviews, of course, because nobody in their right mind gives a shit what those fucking shills have got to say about anything.
Okay, so Critical Drinker, your job is to watch stuff and give your opinion so your audience can watch and say, do I want to watch this or do I want to not? And what you're saying is, I'm not even going to watch it. What I'm going to do is give my opinion on other people's opinions. Fucking hell, dude. Like, this is like...
Hey, Bob, I don't like your opinion there. Just if this guy wants to piggyback on other people, then like let him piggyback.
I mean, this is like
because he's greased the wheels. He's got his grift. Let the man grease the wheels and grift.
This is, I cannot stress this enough. This is the human centipede of movie reviewing right here.
Because he's not only gonna he's not gonna get psoriasis on his own. He's got to get that bread to rot his liver away. Fuck. Such a pathetic
anymore.
Gimmick.
I'm talking about the audience reviews, which is the only semi-reliable barometer for quality these days.
God, these guys treat it like review bombing as if it's like some sort of sacred like thing. And I guess to a degree, these guys can actually brag about some review bombing because it's a lot of their audience and they encourage it. So like, I guess, okay, but like, also understand when you review bomb shit, it makes it worthless. I mean, the fucking Rotten Tomatoes scores need to be taken with a grain of salt to begin with. At best, what you can do is look at those scores and kind of get an idea of what the critical consensus is. And that's it. Like, if you're an actual reviewer, your job is to go fucking watch the thing and draw your own fucking opinions. I'm sorry. Is that outrageous, Bobby? Am I being unfair?
No, you're not. That's exactly what you're supposed to do as a fucking reviewer.
Just
and I mean, the audience scores had been gradually declining from an all-time high of 90.
I know I looked this up on stream before, but one of the things that was a huge tell. So like season 3 had like a 75% audience score and 2,500 reviews. And this series season 4 already had over 5,000 reviews, and it wasn't even over yet. It's obviously bombed and worthless.
80% in season 1 to 75% by season 3, but that's kind of in line with most shows, to be fair.
Yeah. Exactly, Homelander. And it does feel appropriate that you're popping up during this time.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just this is just.
It's Critical Drinker. He is I can't believe he's like got like 2 million subs with this crap.
Oh, I can. Hatred is an easy message to
that is
spread.
True.
It takes little thought and even less effort.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the frustrating things about dealing with these guys. They can lie like 20 times in the amount of time it takes to debunk one of them. That's why it gets really fucking frustrating to deal with this shit.
But there's no denying that season 4 absolutely fell off a cliff. Good lord, I don't...
Season 4, the season you haven't seen, so where the fuck are you getting your opinion from?
The audience.
Oh, the audience. The audience. Fucking
Come on.
He's
busy. He's busy drinking. We know this. That's about all he can fucking do effectively, apparently.
And making YouTube ad revenue money. Good.
Well, yeah. Like I said, hate is an easy business. It takes little. It takes less thought and even less effort.
Yeah. Fuck.
Fuck's sakes.
I think I've seen a fan base turn so hard on any show since Game of Thrones. Look through the reviews and you'll see page after page of absolutely brutal write-ups, all saying
boring, not light enough like the first season. I like action, not make me laugh too.
And I could also...
That's a fucking deep review you're prompting up there.
While previous seasons would take a jab at both sides of the aisle, creating a more neutral and unbiased view of society, season 4 seems to have only been bought and paid for by the Democratic Party. Well, at least they, spelled it right. That's a plus. While completely catering to the left, it has also become a soap opera that is trying so hard to ensure all the characters have a complete character arc. Yeah, that's how you tell a fucking story.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a story.
That's a storytelling element. Your
main characters should all have something of an arc. You can't always give it to all of them, but like you do as many as possible. It's what you do, especially in a series with lots of recurring characters. When you especially when you have talented actors in the role. God damn it! There's 8 episodes a season. Give everybody a little bit of story. Fuck.
God, he's such an ignorant cunt.
basically the same.
Okay, so it's hard to ensure that all characters have a complete arc this season while at the same time making it drag on and on. I don't know.
Did he write these or put the graphics up himself?
I don't know. I imagine he probably pulled these, but
Yeah, because there was a bad
honestly, it
edit
won't surprise
earlier
me if a lot
before
of these
this
are
thread of
copy paste from other websites.
Yeah, because there was a bad edit where it just kind of faded in halfway and then cut to this scrolling. So,
and I'd also be interested. This guy's saying it used to take jabs at both sides. Can you explain to me when the politics of the boys changed? Because I don't recall any change.
because they have been jabbing at both sides of things always, but they even took a lot of jabs at the left in this one too.
Well, I mean, yeah, they do
They
jabs
took a
at the left, but like,
lot of jabs at the left. Yeah,
yeah,
just as much
but
at the right.
I don't know.
I think
I definitely
I think the scene that that woke everybody up was the
Mhm.
scene in which they depicted how quickly someone can be radicalized.
Yeah, yeah.
Which it didn't really lean towards any political affiliation either one way or the other, though in the context of the story, it
Mhm.
was obvious where leaning that radicalization came from. Now
And-
maybe it's just because they realized that they had been
Mhm.
duped, grifted, whatever the word you choose to use. Maybe it's more so because it's an issue in the United States as a country as a whole right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, an argument can be made, and both parties are guilty of this. The world, like, it's not a good economic environment for a lot of the world, and COVID has made lots of things worse. It is a rough world out there.
Mhm.
And then what is disturbing and frustrating is that guys, grifters, critical drinkers one. But I mean, I'm mainly thinking of people like Alex Jones and fucking Donald Trump for sure, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They will sell you enemies and be like, this is the person who's at fault. This is the problem. Now, will that person be the problem? Almost certainly not. But they'll sell it, and then people who are weak and struggling will go, yeah, that must be it. That sounds right.
That bad man caused all the trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's an easy excuse, and then you get people falling for this shit. That's where it gets really frustrating and disheartening. Anyways.
Thing. The general consensus is that the show seems to have sacrificed writing quality and smart characterization in favor of simplistic shock value and cheap political point scoring. In short,
I mean, you haven't even seen the season yet, Drinker. So like, I don't even like. I would ask you for citation, but like, you can't even provide any. So you're literally just talking out of your ass at this point. The Boys has always been political, by the way. This is a series that has never hidden away from politics at all. It says what it wants to say. Most part, I'm on board with everything it says, too. I'm trying to think of a point where I've disagreed really with what it said. I disagree with the audience takes where somehow Homelander is a sympathetic hero and they're upset that he's no longer that. Yeah. And Nicholas, I will go ahead and let you know I had my wisdom teeth removed.
As have I. It sucks.
Dude, like for like I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks, I was just eating pudding and just in fucking pain.
I had 3 that only grew in, and like these 2 came out just fine. Right, this one, yeah. And this one decided to like take about 45 minutes to pull. Like Dennis was like on me. So I feel you, man. It sucks.
So like I had a prescription of Vicodin that I was like going through, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna get high off Vicodin. No, this was Vicodin to feel 10% less shitty because I still felt like shit on it. But it just
it was just My mouth is numb. I can't control my
Mhm.
spit, and I'm
Mhm.
bleeding everywhere.
If anything is slightly tough to chew, I am out. Like so
Yeah.
many foods, it's like I need foods I could suck. I think I did yogurts too, but like,
Yeah,
I had to be careful. I can't have the yogurts with the chunks in it because ow. Oof. But yes, here we'll get back to this.
The writers have become more interested in getting their own personal ideology across and owning the chuds, rather than actually telling a good story. And well, that sort of strategy never really pays off. Naturally, I was curious.
Wait. Vel Fox, all the seasons have told a story. Do you like real quick? What you're saying here is yes, the show has always been political, sure, but they at least tried to tell a story with the previous seasons. They've essentially thrown a semblance of writing quality out for edginess. Like Citation, like what examples do you have of that? Like the writing, at least for me, in my opinion, it's just as strong as it has been. I mean, sure, I think I can make an argument that probably season 1's better, but doesn't mean season 4 is bad. I think season
Like,
1's
they've
fucking
always
amazing, and season 2 is really good too.
They've taken
yeah.
the edginess always with like the storytelling.
It's always been edgy, yeah.
Yeah, like what example?
Yeah.
To get the other side of the story, so I took a look at a recent interview with showrunner Eric Kripke in The Hollywood
Here it comes.
Reporter, and he had this to say about accusations that the show had become too partisan. I clearly have a perspective, and I'm not shy about putting that perspective in the show.
True.
Anyone who wants to call the show woke or whatever, that's okay. Go watch something else. But I'm certainly not going to pull any punches or apologise for what we're doing. Some people who watch it think Homelander is the hero. What do you say to that? The show's many things. Subtle isn't one of them.
True.
So if that's the message you're getting from it, I just throw up my hands.
So real quick, everything in that I agree with 100%. And I don't know why people get offended when these people, like when essentially artists say, hey, if you don't like what I'm making, don't watch it.
Yeah.
Because they say that a lot and they get so offended. And it's like, you do know that's just a guide for life, right? If there's a show on you don't like, you don't have to watch it. Like if you're reviewing it for something like fucking like a podcast or some shit, for a random example, then yeah, you kind of do suck it up sometimes. But
yeah,
like,
there's been shit you've made me watch that I've hated. That I've hated.
If you're just
and
watching,
I've told you.
Yeah,
that I
fucking Rebel
hate it.
Moons. Oh my god.
I don't think I've ever forgiven you for that one.
But like, if you're just watching it to watch it and you're not enjoying it, don't fucking watch it. I don't know how else to explain it.
This isn't rocket surgery.
Yeah.
You know, why do I feel like this is rapidly becoming a tale as old as time? A show gets popular and goes mainstream, the writers get a little too overconfident and think they can use it as a platform for their own personal hang-ups, the fans start to push back against them, and instead of taking that criticism on board and responding in a constructive
I've said this multiple times, and I still want it to be to establish. When was The Boys ever a non-political show? When was it ever used as not a critique of a lot of this stuff? Please explain that.
manner, they just...
Because real quick, the reason why I'm asking that is because it really sounds like he is criticizing The Boys for doing what it has always fucking done since season 1. If you didn't like it then, if you liked it then, why are you against it now? It's the same fucking shtick.
Say, fuck it, go watch something else, you dicks. Kinda reminds me of this idiot who did her level best to tank the American comic book industry and then had the balls to berate her own customers for not loving what she was doing.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
Again, it's the example of the same thing. Like, why are you so offended by that? Like, it's literally like if you don't enjoy, there are artists that I don't enjoy that other people do enjoy. That's allowed. Like this offense that like you have to like every like
it's art.
What?
It's
yeah,
it's art.
It's all subjective.
Yes, art. Thank you. All art is subjective, and it's mostly up to the eye of the beholder. Either you're gonna fucking love something, or you're gonna hate it. And if you hate it, then why would you put yourself through all the trauma and anguish of watching something you fucking hate? You look like a fucking jackass.
I mean, here's something like, and I'm sure Bobby will appreciate this. Bad movies. There are bad movies that are just bad, like fucking
There
Rebel
are.
Moons. But there are bad movies that are fucking fun. And there are plenty of people who don't enjoy the bad movies for fun, and that's fine.
Like Silent
like-
Night, Deadly Night. I fucking love that movie. Is it good?
Yeah.
No. No, not by any means. But is it fucking great for its own? Yes.
I mean, fucking Roadhouse. I love fucking Roadhouse. That movie's not good. Come on.
I mean, no. There's no way Terry Funk would allow some punk ass to beat him up like that. That's Terry Funk. No. Sorry.
It's all fucking subjective.
You girls enjoy yourself.
It's the entertainment equivalent of that asshole kid who takes his ball and flounces off home because everyone else won't play the game the way he wants them to. It's this weird...
Well, no, it's if you're not enjoying the game, then don't play. It's that fucking simple, bro.
Narcissistic sense of entitlement amongst creatives these days that everyone should just unconditionally support and agree with you because you're...
Whoa. That is literally not what any of them said. They did not say everyone has to support and agree with them. They were saying if you don't support it, don't watch it. No,
they don't say that. No, that's all. They don't say that. Like,
yeah,
I'm not trying to imply that anyone else says that in anything, but the creators have never once said that.
Yeah.
Such a paragon of wisdom that there's no possibility you could ever be wrong about anything. The problem, Eric, is that other people don't always think exactly the same way we do. They don't always share our beliefs, parrot our opinions, mirror our viewpoints on every topic. And that's okay, because people are allowed to have different points of view. A smart, humble, and creative writer finds ways to bridge the gap between all these different groups through the uniform.
Okay, so real quick, like this argument, if you're a smart writer, you could bridge the gaps. What if we're in a fucking culture where everything gets politicized just to fucking, to a frustrating level, to the point where we're arguing whether or not women can star in superhero movies, whether or not fucking, we're allowed to tell stories about like different people's perspectives on things that aren't straight white men.
Whether or not a certain superhero can have a certain complexion to their skin.
Yes. When that gets politicized, and it all gets politicized to this extreme angle, then it gets to a point where it's like, well, if you're just going to politicize everything, then why hide from it? Fuck it, let's go in.
I feel that's the point that Kripke has always been trying to make.
Yeah.
Fine concept of good storytelling. A bad writer, on the other hand, tries to hammer home his opinions on his audience with sheer brute force and then get...
Okay, real quick. I will say part of the reason why writers have gotten less subtle with their messages, and a key example of this, is the fucking Matrix. It's because people will misinterpret their messages. The Matrix, because dipshit chuds try to say red pill means Republican, and that like that's the true pill and the blue pill is the lie. And it's like, you dumb fucks. The red pill was just something they took because it was part of a trans fucking therapy. Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
When you take it subtle and, get the message across, you have dipshits misinterpreting it. And what that's going to cause? That's going to cause the artist to be a hell of a lot less subtle. I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad to be less subtle, because sometimes it's good to just like make your point unignorable.
Most of those people were unaware that the Wachowskis went through their transformation either, so.
Yeah.
It's angry and resentful when they push back against it. I'll let you decide which one you used to be and which one you are now. Also,
I would argue he hasn't really changed, but
yeah,
apparently you're set, and he obviously set that up for his fans to draw the conclusion. So Yay. And I will say, drinker fans, guys, like, I still can't believe this is your dude. Like, you watch this dude and you just worship him. I just don't fucking get it, man. My God, there are so much better film critics out there. Drinker fans, watch some Patrick H. Willems. He will give you some great fucking perspectives on fucking movies. Thoughtful, well put together essays.
Watch
that
Robert
criticize the
Eigler.
movie industry.
Yeah, watch Robert Eigler. He'll give you a great analysis on film as an art, as it is.
Not this cheap slock that drinkers
Yeah,
swilling out.
Yeah, like this is like equivalent of drinking the bar mats at the end of a busy Friday night.
Yeah. The only good thing this video is for is what we're doing it right now. Just fucking clowning on it. Because this video is ridiculous.
It's interesting watching the discourse around The Boys on social media, which I can best summarize as, The Boys used to be smart and fun, now it's all about pushing politics and nothing else.
Oh, critical drinker. That's a very thoughtful analysis, considering you haven't watched the fucking season.
That first photo?
I mean, that other one's like generic photo, and then now we have photo from the Martin Sheen from Twilight.
That is from
Not
Twilight?
Martin Sheen, Michael Sheen.
That is
yeah,
from
he's
Twilight?
one of the vampires. Yeah.
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know.
I've seen random.
I want to
movies.
say
will
that
say
was Woody
Michael
Guthrie in the first photo, and it's more of like, oh, I'm sure Woody would have loved that was used.
Real quick, Michael Sheen is one of the best parts in the Twilight movies because he is chewing scenery like you wouldn't fucking believe. He is so over the top.
I think the blonde behind him also looks like he's hungry for some plaster.
Cry harder, chuds. Don't you know this show was always making fun of people like you?
Wait, what's the point of even that what? Okay.
Fucking hubris.
Okay, let's...
I mean, it's worth noting, that line in Star Trek Picard, that was when he was getting declined his ship, and she said sheer fucking hubris for him asking for it. You guys do realize the Admiral was in the wrong for doing that, right? Like,
no,
I have my complaints with Star Trek Picard, but Jesus,
chaos. No. That he's already shoving like the square block into like the circle hole.
Yeah,
let's just let him keep. He's having fun.
Chris Stuckman's good. I appreciate Chris Stuckman. Dan Morel's another good one. There's good YouTube movie reviewers, guys. Not critical drinker.
Get this over with. Yes, most people with functioning brain cells knew exactly what this show was and where its political sympathies lay. Nobody in...
Whoa, wait.
So he saying that he doesn't have the simple brain cells, or?
So I mean, all the video up to this point was him making the argument that it's changed, and now he's saying it hasn't changed.
He's acknowledging it. So
I love it when these guys just speak out both sides of their mouth like that. It's like, what the fuck? You're saying nothing.
Their right mind looked at Homelander as a misunderstood hero that represented the voice of the masses. Nobody looked at Stormfront and...
Okay, yes, there was definitely some weird social media shit about how Homelander was like the hero of the story or some shit. And I thought it was fucking weird too, just like Eric Kripke did.
Thought, you know what? She's got a point there. Nobody clapped and cheered when the Deep forced himself on Starlight, and it's complete gaslighting to suggest otherwise. The show was never particularly subtle about its politics or what it expected its audience to take from it. The difference, though, is that for the first couple of seasons at least, it was actually fun and entertaining because the creative focus was still on the story and characters. And
Season 4 is still very much about the story and characters. I mean, one of the reviews, the audience reviews, was complaining about how it feels the need to have a story arc for all its characters, and it's like, yeah,
that indicates a well-rounded story and develop and progress.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, people can be surprisingly receptive to your political ideas when they're smartly presented and wrapped up inside an entertaining product. People.
Okay, real quick. Again, when you turn everything into a culture war where just having trans people exist is somehow a culture war point, it gets tough to do anything. So
Oh,
why
wow.
hide it?
No, wow, he does not have any. He has what is known as wet brain.
Yeah.
A man needs AA. All right.
People can empathize with
We're almost
characters that
there.
embody ideas they don't normally support, as long as those characters are well written and likable. People are even capable of laughing at themselves when you point out the more absurd or extreme elements of their worldview, provided you do it in a way that's actually funny and insightful. In each of these cases, though, the primary focus should always...
I'm not saying no, but I
No,
am
I'm not
saying
either.
that's not common. I will say people who are more self-aware, absolutely.
Like, I'll say that every time they say the Starlighters, I laugh at that. I think that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
be on entertaining your audience instead of lecturing or pandering to them, and I think this is where The Boys is...
Again,
He thinks
like,
that
yes,
The
while there's
Boys
clear
is
politics in this, I
pandering.
wouldn't say it lectures at all. It just, there's
Doesn't
obvious
he do a
political
group
elements.
cast with all of his like little cronies and everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Who pretty
Well, I
much
mean,
pander the entire time?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's something these guys ignore. Number one, to a degree, everything will pander trying to get its audience. Everything
this
does
is
it.
this is what we're doing
It's
for
part
our
of
last hour.
selling. Yeah, but yeah, critical drinker, he panders hard.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, like he's not going to get that off of his. He's not going to get that stock that great collection of booze.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, wow. Jeez.
Finally come unstuck. The more strident and blatant your messaging becomes, the less entertained people are going to be, and the more of your audience you end up pushing away. Instead of uniting them with entertainment, you end up dividing and alienating them with politics. And well, I hope it was all worth...
Again, when you make everything political, how can you avoid it? I cannot state that enough. Fuck. This woman being in something will make it political anymore. So why hide?
Worth it, Eric. I hope it was worth tanking your franchise, tarnishing your legacy, and turning your own customers against you, all for the sake of some...
Okay, so again, streamers are notoriously bad with numbers. That being said, according to Amazon, this is this season has outperformed the other seasons, as all the other seasons have as well. They just outperformed the previous seasons. So the one source we have says they're not taking their audience. They're doing just fucking fine. They're...
Jesus.
Cheap political theatre that's going to be forgotten as soon as your show's over. I hope all those pats on the back that you and your fellow writers have given yourselves make you feel better when the show inevitably gets cancelled. And no, I don't think
Okay, this was released around episode 4, and it was before the season released, I think, when it was announced that season 5 would be the last one. Is he doing this? Is he trying to frame it so that way, like, when it ends next season, his audience will be like, oh, Critical Drinker saw it coming. Dude, it's not getting canceled. Eric Kripke's ending it with one more year. What the hell?
we'll be watching season 4 of The Boys after all. Quite frankly, I've got better things to do, and I suspect you do as well. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Okay, so one of the better things to do is apparently making that terrible fucking video. Now that terrible video would probably, you could probably do that less in less time, because fuck, there was no effort put in that thing. For sure. But is it a better use of time? Absolutely not.
Little thought and little effort, man.
Yeah, so like that's an 8-minute video, and I cannot recommend watch any episode of The Boys. Yes, it takes an hour, but it's well worth your time. Any random 8 minutes of The Boys is gonna be better worth your time than that video. Fuck.
God, he had the same video package that he just cycled over and over again.
Yeah,
little
yeah.
effort. Little effort.
There's so little effort. So yeah, watch someone like Patrick H. Willems. He actually puts fucking effort into his videos.
He actually has sometimes continuing arcs that go from video to video that have nothing to do
Yeah.
with the topic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I always watch for the topic, but sometimes the arc shit gets funny. I mean,
Charlie.
I'm not gonna lie.
Charlie, the coconut with the eyes.
Yeah, Charles, the
shit's
coconut that was
hilarious.
killing people was kind of fucking hilarious. It was
Just for no reason whatsoever.
a murderous coconut is after them.
No, like one thing I really love about Robert Eigler is like who does collective learning. He does deep dives into Kubrick, which Kubrick
Nice.
alone as a director is just there's so many elements to everything, like down to his use of color throughout all of his movies. Like
Mhm.
there was one that he was talking about, and I never realized it until like he said it. Kubrick really loves the color red. And not in the
He
sense
does,
of like
doesn't he?
framing. Yeah, you just thought about it, and
Yeah.
then all those different like
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
over famous scenes in Kubrick movies. I'm like, fuck, there is a lot of red.
Like the red in the steering wheel and the leather in the car in A Clockwork Orange where they're driving and they do that really tight shot onto Alex. All the red light.
So
in the
much
spaceship.
blood and
Yeah.
so much blood in The Shining.
Yeah, let's see. The red of the hazard lights of the spaceship and Dave's suit is red as well.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember thinking that was interesting because, like, that's
and Barry
you
Lyndon.
don't usually see a red suit.
All of the government figures wear red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Red rum.
I mean
Yeah, there are
that was
people
taken from the book, but still, though, yes, red.
Yeah.
It's predominant.
So essentially, if you want good media criticism on YouTube, it exists. Hey, I think we do a pretty good job in this podcast,
I
even though
feel
it's
we
just
do
live off the
okay.
cuff stuff. Yeah.
No,
You know,
and
it-
we're not like shill masters like Hulk Hogan, or I'm sorry, like that no good, lousy, stinking hyena Hulk Hogan, who is backing the Republican Party. And oh my god,
who is well, I'm not gonna lie, his speech at the RNC, I haven't seen the whole thing, but what I've seen is comedy fucking gold.
I mean, he was never really like he was always 50-50 on promos. And I never liked him when I was younger and really into wrestling. I was more of a savage, Randy Savage guy. But,
Dude, I know he was the villain, but I always liked Rowdy Piper.
Well, I mean, yeah, Piper's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I wore kilts. I wore a kilt for my wedding, right? And all my groomsmen, we wore kilts. And for the song that we walked out to was Rowdy Piper's entrance theme.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a Piper fan as well. So
Yeah, Piper's awesome. Rest in peace.
fucking hot.
God, how come we still have to deal with Hulk, but Piper's
I
not?
know, like
That's-
all the and Savage too.
dude. And it kind of drives me nuts. Piper didn't have more of a movie career because, listen, was he the best actor I've ever seen ever in They Live? No, but he was solid.
He was pretty good. Formaldehyde
Yeah, it's like
based.
he should get some decent career after that.
Yeah,
Also,
he-
They
he
Live is
did.
awesome if people haven't seen it. And
Yeah, They Live is fucking great. Like one of my
Mhm.
favorite Carpenter movies.
It's like this brilliant little beat. Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Yeah,
There's so many
it-
great movies, and you're not gonna find out about him by watching Critical Drinker do his fucking human centipede of movie reviews at this point. Jesus.
It's almost as if his scripts are AI written.
You know, I've actually
And
theorized that because I've been able to get Chat GPT to spit out Critical Drinker scripts. Not word for word, but pretty fucking similar in tone.
Which means that it's been done before if they already have the formula.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny. Well,
Yeah, I
I've
just had to
found
do some
even
slight tinkering.
even in some social media circles that if you criticize him in particular, you get some static back at you. And even when
Oh,
you
I
give a
know.
clear
People
and
defend him. Yeah.
articulate argument on why you feel the way you dislike him or anything, it's
Yeah.
as if you're just it's a more you'd have a better use of your time throwing a tennis ball against a brick wall.
True.
Like, I mean, mental
Well, I mean,
gymnastics, man.
did
Mental
you know
gymnastics.
Critical Drinker wrote airport bait books, and therefore he's a brilliant writer and knows how stories work, and therefore is a better critic than anybody in
I'm
the
sorry,
world.
he wrote what? He wrote what?
Oh, he did. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Critical Drinker writes essentially they're Jack Ryan knockoff books. They like I think Ed Pop Counterculture read the first one and reviewed it and talked about like it's bland, it's generic, and apparently the lead woman character, well, the main woman character, the main character is Ryan Drake, not Jack Ryan. I almost said Jack Ryan.
Ryan
But the
Drake.
main woman character is a total girl boss. So, Critical Drinker sounded kind of woke, actually.
Maybe he's after. Maybe he's into the femdoms. That's fine if he
maybe.
is. Hey, that's fine. He just needs a girl like Ashley.
Oh, damn. By the way, we never did see what happens with her because
no, we didn't.
She took B, and then that's it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. So next week, God, this episode went on for a while. That was fun.
Yeah, this one did. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. We got Deadpool 3 next week. We got Alien 3 next week. We got Cobra Kai season 2. Wasn't there a specific version of Alien 3 you wanted me to see? Because I've only seen the theatrical.
I'm just gonna see whatever one's available.
Okay. All right. That works.
So there's a chance that we could be that Chaos and I could be talking about two completely different movies.
Ooh, that could be.
No. The only time that I've ever said that we need to get this version is if we get to Halloween 6, because we need to watch the producer's cut of it.
Yeah, there's different things. Yeah, those are
because the theatrical cut did more of the modern mid early 90s like quick cuts and like edits like that and over synthesized the soundtrack, while the producers toned down the color hues a bit, kind of made them a little bit more grayish a little, and used the original theme, which made it have the same atmosphere and feel of the original Carpenter one.
Can I just say, theatrical cut of Halloween 6, I kind of loved it. Not because it's a good movie, though.
Because of those tacky things that I said.
So bad.
Yes.
It's so cliche and just
yes. Just take away all the tackiness and like having it have more of the feel of the original.
And apparently Ant-Man can beat up Michael Myers now, so we're good.
There's also a different ending too. So
there's a very different ending, but we aren't there.
Oh,
but,
well,
Deadpool 3, Alien 3, and Cobra Kai season 2. We'll try to get up with Cobra Kai before it ends in about a year, I think, actually, because they're doing 3 parts of the last season. I have so much to say about that series because it is. I find it frustrating because it starts out so good and then
I think once it got taken off YouTube, it just kind of dropped in quality.
Well, I don't know. Like the first couple seasons are on YouTube, so I don't know if necessarily because it just feels like every season is just getting worse and worse. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it will end on a strong note. Maybe it'll just be like and then yay, it's good at the end. I don't have much hope, but maybe. We will find out. We'll cover season 2 next week. Yes. Let me think. Anything coming up for you, Bobby?
No, nothing right now.
All right. And then on my channel, I think I'm planning my stream on Sunday. That'll be my next stream. I'm putting up comic book holes. Got the Marvel Blood Hunt book, asking for that one. And I'm going to edit together something for release tomorrow, a video of some type. possibly the podcast segment of us going over to Critical Drinker just now. That might be fun. We will see. But yeah, something's coming out tomorrow. I haven't decided exactly which. Might be Cavernacle too. We'll see. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Thanks for watching us. Like and subscribe, guys.
Yes.
I need to say that a lot more. And party on. Be excellent to each other.
Take care.